All right, so this is section 3, Spain builds an empire in the Americas, right? We learned about the Europeans setting sail, then we learned about the Europeans reaching the Americas, so this section is all about Spain starting to build in the Americas. After this video, you should be able to examine the various economic and political systems of Spain in the Americas. And you should be able to recognize the practice of slavery and other forms of forced labor experienced during this is the 16th century in the Americas. Right now, notice these are 9th grade world history standards, but I still want you to write them down because they do apply to what we're doing now. And then, as always, after this video, you should be able to use your notes to answer any question, video question or not, any assignment we do. You should be able to use your notes to do. No notes? You're going to struggle. Alright, so first things first, we start to see Spanish conquistadors, right? Christopher Columbus was a regular explorer, regular guy who just explored things. These guys, conquistadors, are soldiers who lead military expeditions in the Americas. So Columbus was a regular explorer. These guys are soldiers, military men, right? Very different. They're going to have different goals, right? One of those was Hernan Cortez. He was in Cuba, and then he's going to leave Cuba to go to Mexico to visit the Aztecs and steal Moctezuma II's fortune, right? Moctezuma II was the leader of the Aztecs. So the Aztecs, which we would have learned about in chapter 1, but I skipped it, they were this advanced civilization in Mexico, and they had thousands of warriors, but Cortez, he only had like 600 people with him. But the Aztecs don't have guns. Cortez does. And Cortez teamed up with their enemies, and so he's going to easily win that fight. The reason why he was able to get to the Aztecs pretty easily, actually, one, he had a few guides, but two, they believed that he was a god, Quetzalcoatl, and they welcomed him. And in class, I'll tell you the story of Quetzalcoatl. So Cortez, he's going to take Moctezuma prisoner, and he's going to take control of the capital city of the Aztecs, which is Tenochtitlan, which is modern-day Mexico City. Anyone he didn't kill with a gun, they're going to end up dying thanks to people sneezing and spreading germs, right? And the empire is going to fall. Another guy is this guy, Francisco Pizarro. He's going to take control of the Inca Empire in Peru, which again we would have learned about in chapter 1. And so he's going to capture their capital of Cusco. He's going to kill all the leaders, and he's going to take over the empire by 1534. About 75% of both the Aztecs and the Inca populations at this point will be completely wiped out within just a few years. There are very few descendants of either of these empires at this point, kind of like what Columbus did with the Taínos. Now, as Spain starts to settle, they're going to call this area New Spain, so Mexico, Peru, and where they go after that, that's New Spain. They don't want any Jews or Muslims or non-Christians in this area, only Christians, only Catholics, really. First, they're only going to send the men, then eventually they will bring women and children and the families so that they can really start to settle this area. And they're going to rule through royal officials called viceroys under the Council of the Indies. Viceroys is a vocab word, it should be in yellow, but it's essentially vice royalty, kind of like a vice president, right? They rule in place of the royals because the king and queen are not moving to New Spain. They're going to establish 3 different kinds of settlements. So one are pueblos, again a vocab word that should be yellow, served as trading posts and centers of government. This is just really where the town center is. 2 are missions, and this is where priests are going to convert local natives to Catholicism. So just like Mission San Luis, that's actually a Spanish mission that was established here in Florida, that's what Mission San Luis is. It's a place where they can convert natives to Catholicism. And then the last is presidios, which are military bases that protected the towns and the missions. In order to connect all of this so that they can better govern everything, they built the El Camino Real, which is the Royal Road. It's going to be hundreds of miles of road from Mexico City to Santa Fe and New Mexico and even all the way to California. I'm moving kind of fast because I'm trying to get under 10 minutes. So, exploring the borderlands of New Spain, which was basically almost all of the Americas, right? So in 1508, they're going to start exploring the southeast, and Juan Ponce de Leon, he's going to land in Puerto Rico, and he's going to found San Juan in 1511. We also know of de Leon because he is important in Florida. He's going to discover present-day Florida in the area of St. Augustine, so some of y'all might have heard the name, right? And that's going to be our oldest city in America. Now, once he lands in St. Augustine, he's going to start searching for the Fountain of Youth because he heard that it existed in this area. And he never found it, but he was given permission to colonize Florida. He's not going to colonize it, though, because that's not what he wanted. He just wanted the Fountain of Youth. So he's not really much of a conquistador. He's more so just an explorer. In 1532, Hernando de Soto, he's going to explore the Gulf of Mexico. And he's going to land in the present-day Tampa Bay area. So right in here somewhere, right? In 1539. Not only did they explore the southeast, they also explored the southwest. So in 1528, Alvar Núñez Cabeza de Vaca and Pánfilo de Narváez, I hope I said that right, came through Florida and explored the Gulf Coast, but they had lots of problems, and they crashed in Galveston, Texas. They encountered a very big storm in the Gulf of Mexico, probably like Ida right now, or Hurricane Katrina, right? It was probably a hurricane, so they're going to crash in Texas. Only 4 of their men out of the couple of 100 or so that they had are going to survive, and they were all captured by Native Americans, and they were kept as prisoners and slaves for about 6 years. And they traveled with them, and they eventually reached Mexico, where Hernán Cortés was, right? So he's freed by Cortés, and de Vaca, he's going to learn from the natives that he was with, and when he returns to Spain, he actually advocates for better treatment of the natives, because we'll learn they weren't treated that well. De Vaca inspired others, and in 1540, Francisco Vázquez de Coronado, he's going to go to Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, and he's going to be searching for gold. And actually, you might have heard of a Disney movie called The Road to El Dorado, right, where they're searching for the 7 cities of gold, right? That's what he was looking for, but El Dorado does not exist, just like the Fountain of Youth does not exist, and so he's never going to find it. Oh, real quick, it's important to know about these guys simply just so that we know that the Spanish started to also travel and explore the Southwest, and that's why they were able to take over. Now, as far as the treatment of the Native Americans go, forced labor, right? So the Spanish Empire consisted of 3 to 4 million people, and 80% of these people were the natives, right? The ones who didn't die, right? The rest are going to be white, and by white I mean Spanish, right? The blacks and the mixed, right? So they were still taking Africans from the continent and bringing them over as well. And then the white people, again, are going to be the Spanish. And, of course, they're going to start having some babies and mixing together, right? So settlers who came from Spain are called peninsulares, and they have the highest government positions. And they're going to establish the encomienda system, which we'll learn about more later, right? But the encomienda system gave settlers the right to tax local natives or to make them do work in exchange for protection and conversion to Catholicism, right? So that's how it's supposed to work. You work for me, you give me money, and in turn I don't kill you, I don't let other people kill you, and I also introduce you to white Jesus. That's how it's supposed to work. Instead, it's just slavery. It just turned into slavery. That's it. It turned into slavery because the Spanish were operating large plantations, which are large commercial farms that grow just one kind of crop, right? It's not just a small farm for me and my family. It's a very large farm that's going to support, like, the entire empire. This is going to make the empire very rich, and it requires thousands of natives to work for them. So they need lots of Native Americans as slaves to do it. Some of the natives are also going to work in gold mines. All of this was very dangerous, though, and they were treated pretty harshly. And so lots of them, most of them, are going to die. So we have this guy who stepped in. The Catholic Church is going to step in, right? So the Spanish king, he's going to command priests to convert the natives, and some of them are going to convert. Some of them are going to mix Catholicism with their own religion, and others are going to reject it completely. Right? And so we have Bartolome de las Casas, who comes in. He's a priest, and he's going to protest the treatment of Native Americans. He kind of feels like they're not converting because they're being forced to convert, right? We're beating them into conversion. We're trying to, teach about love and how great Jesus is by beating these people. That's not going to work, right? So he's going to suggest that they can be converted through love and kindness, the same way that Jesus did it. And so he's going to suggest that, we go find slave labor somewhere else. Nudge, nudge. Wink, wink, wink. I can only do that with my left eye. And the king is going to agree. So things are going to get bad. All right, so boom. We now know about 8 new important people and where they went or what they did. They were highlighted in green. Make sure you go get them. We also know what a conquistador is and what they do. And we also are starting to see how slavery is starting to take shape in the Americas. Next, I need you to make sure that your notes are complete with all of the people, all of the places, all of the vocab words, because that's very important for your next quiz and for your test. This chapter is filled with lots of important people and places, right? Make sure you have it. And then also write down one question to bring to class, right? Anything concerning this section at all, just write down one question. I will be checking for it at the top of your notes.